All right, so there are a couple of early plays that I want to break down from Saturday. And it's really not even plays, it's more of like the personnel groupings that Alabama used and how they deployed certain guys with the limitations that they have with Qua Russaw not being 100%. He did end up playing in this game, but I just found it fascinating how, Jihaad Campbell was able to show off his versatility, against the Bulldogs. So first of all, we'll kind of, set the stage here. First down, first play of the game. Devontae Smith gives up inside leverage. Georgia gets a pass completed. That goes for a first down. Second down, Carson Beck goes vertical at Zabian Brown or at Arian Smith. Zabian Brown was in coverage. I actually think it was pretty good coverage by Zabian Brown. I don't think it was perfect by any means, but he was in a position where it required a perfectly thrown football from Carson Beck to get it completed. Now, granted, Carson Beck's, probably going to be a future first-round draft pick. He ends up putting the ball exactly where he needed to. It should have been a completion. Fortunately for Alabama, Arian Smith drops the football, and now we find ourselves in a 2nd and 10 situation, which is what you're looking at. Now, the first thing I want to point out is that Georgia is in a 12 personnel right now. You got 1 tight end, 2 tight ends. And Alabama, as a result, one thing that I noticed is you did see a lot of 3-4 looks when Georgia was in 12 personnel. And that includes, 3 defensive linemen, 4 quote unquote linebackers, and then 4 defensive backs. You don't have the traditional 5 defensive backs. You've only got your 2 corners and you've got your 2 safeties. So the reason that I'm talking about that or saying that is just kind of set the stage for what's going to be happening when we go to the end zone view. All right. So what I want to talk about here is with Qua Russaw being banged up, we had kind of wondered, okay, is he going to end up starting? Does it end up being, Keanu Coote? Is it Quandarius Robinson? Robinson did get the start in this game, but you're in a 2nd and 10 situation. And I thought it was interesting because it's 2nd and 10, it's more of a passing situation, but at the same time, it's still a potential run down. What I really liked about what they do here is you still got your 3 defensive linemen, traditional defensive linemen. You got your 2 4-eye defensive ends on the inside shoulder of the tackle. You still got your zero technique nose. And then your bandit, LT Overton, is kind of playing one of those, outside linebacker positions. But the guy at the other outside linebacker spot, really playing what would be considered Alabama's wolf, is Jihaad Campbell. It's not Quandarius Robinson. It's not Keanu Coote. It is Jihaad Campbell. Now, right now, because of, the formation, he's lined up in the apex, which is the distance between the end man on the line of scrimmage, typically the tackle, and the inside receiver. So he's kind of out here playing in space, which is something that he's been, he's done a ton. So he's going to be really comfortable doing that, way more comfortable than your traditional 3-4 outside linebacker that's being asked to do something like this. But because they're playing him at wolf, they put Justin Jefferson on the field at Mike to replace him. I don't know if that is just in certain situations, Alabama felt better about having Justin Jefferson on the field compared to maybe a Quandarius Robinson or a Keanu Coote. But, I did find that really interesting that, this is the 3rd snap of the game and Justin Jefferson's already out there on the field. You did see later on when Jefferson goes down, Campbell's going to end up playing more of, his traditional off-ball linebacker role. We didn't play as much quote unquote wolf. And I think that, you end up seeing more Coote, you end up seeing more Robinson. Obviously, Russaw, he's still available. You do see him play some snaps. He ended up having a huge strip sack in the second half. But, he would be out there for a few plays and then they take him off the field. I don't think they wanted to put too much on his shoulders. And one reason, and we'll talk about it in a second, that I think that maybe Alabama felt more comfortable playing Jihaad Campbell in, this typical, not this role, but a full wolf role in certain situations, at least, is his ability to feel really comfortable playing this off-ball shallow linebacker, type of looks. But we'll talk about that more in here in just a second. Let's take a look at what actually ends up happening here. All right, so Georgia, 2nd 10, like I said, they're going to end up throwing a tunnel screen here. And that is something that Georgia typically likes to do, is they like to, on 2nd down, if it's 2nd 10, 2nd 9, whatever, they want to make a manageable third down situation. So you'll see them throw a lot of these tunnel screens, get whatever yardage they can, and make it that manageable situation on third down. So on this play, I think he ends up picking up 4, but that sets us up for this. And this is what I want to talk about as well, because I thought that these are back-to-back plays, and it was really interesting how they utilize some of this personnel that they have available. So as I said, it's now 3rd and 6 after a 4-yard gain on the tunnel screen. So this is an obvious passing situation. It would not be an obvious passing situation if this was the second half. Why? Because Georgia started going for it on 4th down. So this would be viewed really as 2nd and 6 rather than 3rd and 6 in the second half. But for now, if Georgia gets stopped here, they're on the 39-yard line currently. They're going to punt the football for sure, no doubt about it. And so, you can kind of play it with a different type of package. And we'll go ahead and kind of take a look at that. So you got this grouping, okay? And as I said, you would not, if you thought this was really 2nd and 6, you don't put this grouping out there, period. Why? Because you're extremely light. Like you got LT Overton, which I thought this was really fascinating. We haven't seen him play too many reps in fact, we hadn't seen him play any reps as far as being a true interior nose type of player, as far as 0 technique, 1, a 2 eye on the inside shoulder of the guard. You had not seen him play really any of these types, anywhere in here up to this point in any sort of game. Jamarian Latham, on the other hand, throughout his career, he's played quite a bit as far as like that cheetah package and stuff. He was like one of their interior pass rushers in those obvious passing situations in the past. So I'm kind of surprised that they didn't have a Latham playing here, and Overton, who I think is pretty comfortable playing out here. I'm kind of surprised by that, but at the same time, as you'll see, Overton can kind of be a wrecking ball here on the interior, just like he can be as far as, really you can move him and play him all along your defensive front, and he's going to have a lot of success doing it. But that's where I wanted to start. I mean, you got a 285-pound nose tackle right here. And then you're really at this point, you're running. This is where people get confused as far as what type of defense Kane Womack runs. Is it a 4-2-5? Is it a 3-3-5? Well, in this situation, I mean, it's going to look like a 3-3-5. And so I have no problem with anybody that calls it that, because of this, even though he's typically an off-ball linebacker, he's playing Wolf in this situation. He's playing a shallow role that we've seen the Wolf play alongside Justin Jefferson and Deontay Lawson. So, you've got 3 guys on the line of scrimmage. You've got 3 off-ball linebackers for this particular snap, and then you've got 5 defensive backs. So it's going to be, if he lines up on the line of scrimmage, it's going to turn into a 4-2-5, which is what everybody calls Kane Womack's defense. But with this type of role, that's where a lot of the confusion comes in, is this position right here. And as I said before, this makes a lot of sense for a guy like Jihaad Campbell because of his experience playing off-ball linebacker. He's not uncomfortable playing off the ball. A guy like Keanu Coote or Quandarius Robinson, they don't have a whole lot of experience playing off the ball. And if they do, it's more of in that apex 3-4 type of look that you saw from Jihaad Campbell on the previous play. Playing it here and having run fits and run responsibilities, that takes some transition. And even Jihaad Campbell, because of his experience as an outside linebacker or edge rusher in high school, he didn't really have a really good feel as far as run fits and things like that early in his career at Alabama. It's one of the big reasons, in my opinion, why you didn't see him much as a freshman. And then last year you saw some growing pains, but he continued to get better, pretty much each and every week. But now he's perfect for this. He can handle the edge, stuff totally fine when you ask him to play out there on the line of scrimmage, but also when you're asking this Wolf to play this role, he can do this extremely well. And so that might be a reason why you saw him playing some Wolf, is because when he's asked to do this, he's more comfortable than the other 2 guys who are available. I think Qua Russaw is getting a really good feel for it. There was questions as to whether he would play off ball or on the ball on the college level. So he's got the athleticism. He's picking it up pretty well. But, these other 2 guys, Coote and Robinson, I still think there's some growing pains happening that's causing some issues with Alabama's run fits. And that might be why, they decided to do this, because in this situation, you've still got 2 Wolves with Campbell and Coote both being on the field together. but Coot's getting to do what he does best. He's getting a lineup out there on the edge. It's an obvious passing situation. Get after the quarterback. So I really liked how that ended up looking. And from a passing perspective, as far as coverage, Deontay Lawson, he's going to be pretty darn good in coverage. He can do a lot of those responsibilities. Justin Jefferson's easily the best athlete at off-ball linebacker that Alabama has. And so he's going to be, I thought he was fantastic. Limited cover grade, cover reps, limited reps in general. He only ended up playing 9 snaps because he got injured. But, he's a great cover linebacker. So this is exactly, you want him on the field. You want Lawson on the field. You got the versatility with Campbell. You're putting him in a role where he can be successful. And, as you'll see, even LT Overton, obviously he didn't end up making a sack or anything, but you can tell he's got the ability to rush from the interior.